Yeah, Slim Pickens, looking at this map right now. Actually, I'm right here, what am I doing? I can just sail there myself in the same amount of time. We have 2 reefs back to back, so we might as well hammer both these out. Looks like 2 checks each. One has 3 actually, one has a submarine. This is Cyclops Reef, right? Oh, that reminds me, because I got the physical, I guess I can play Marvel vs. Capcom in like 2 weeks. That is a streaming possibility. Or like whichever game. I don't know if I'd play MVC or not. Specifically, if I'd go in order. But again, that is a possibility of trying to go through some of the Marvel Capcom games. Again, I'm just a stickler for physical copies for games that are likely to go out of print very quickly and could potentially be delisted someday, so I did elect for the physical for MVC specifically. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I haven't really played the MVC games very much, except a little bit of 3. So yeah, it'll be fun to get a look at those. I hear they're really difficult, so I'm not looking forward to that aspect. I will definitely be playing on, like, beginner, because I do not think I'll fare well otherwise. Yeah, I like physical copies for the most part, if I can help it. There are a lot of games that are really cheap digital, and I keep being like, everyone says to play this game, but I would prefer a physical copy. The obvious one right now is 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. Just because, like, Vanillaware games sell out very fast, and they're generally pretty niche, so that game's, like, very expensive physical now, but digital is, like, $15, and I'm trying to decide if it's, like, worth it just to save the money, or if it's better to have a physical. Hypothetically, like, 4 nominees could all be Atlas games for, like, Best RPG, and then you can toss in, like, Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and then you have, like, literally an entire, like, RPG category is just Sega published games. It's actually been nice though, as a stickler for turn-based RPGs, it's been very nice that we're having a bit of a renaissance with this at the moment. There's a lot of games that move more towards like action RPG in recent years, so I've always been okay with either. It just kind of feels like there's been a dearth of turn-based RPGs that aren't Persona or Pokemon, or like, obviously there's a lot of indie examples too. For some reason, the first one that came to mind was Super Lesbian Animal RPG, because of course it was. Which I actually need to get around to playing. I picked it up on a Steam sale a while ago, and never actually got around to it, because I got distracted. My other issue right now is I've let RPGs accumulate too long. Like, I have 4... No. Wait. 3... Is that right? No. It is. 3 Fire Emblems to get through at some point. And, you know, Fire Emblem games tend to be pretty long nowadays, so yeah, wait, I do have 4, because Revelations. I do have all 3 now. So yeah, Conquest, Revelations, Echoes, Shadows of Valentia, and Engage. What else has been sitting in my backlog? Again, I know I've been getting a lot of suggestions of this off stream and on stream, but at some point I need to actually get around to like the Yakuza games, specifically Yakuza 0 is the one I own. My only issue is I always hear really mixed things about like everything after 0 chronologically, because 0 was late, I think. Like, I think 0 might have been after Kiwami 1, but I may be mistaken on that. And also not limited by being a remake of Yakuza 1. Therefore, I've always heard, like, Kiwami 2 is also, like, debated, because some people actually find it strays too far from the PST version aesthetically. Like, there's one scene I always see that's, like, got a really nice environmental design, but on Kiwami 2, it's just kind of, like, very basic, so it's kind of a Sonic Adventure 2, like, Sonic Adventure DX problem, almost. But again, quality of life is important. The other game that's been sitting in my backlog for way too long is Final Fantasy 15. Like, everyone has strong opinions on it, and because of that, it's a game I really want to play, like, myself. Just because I want to come to my own consensus on it. Weirdly enough, I don't feel that way about 16. I really don't have much desire to play FF16, like, at all. Like, for whatever reason, just nothing about that game really interests me, except the lead voice actor seems really cool. But beyond that, like, FF16 is just kind of like, it exists. Okay, we have a fully upgraded Master Sword now. That is worthwhile. I'm trying to think of anything else, actually. I know there's a lot of games that I haven't finished. Oh yeah, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, that's another one. Do you ever have those moments where you finish a game, but then because you finished it, you go to activities briefly upended, and you don't feel like playing something else, but the remaining side quests aren't cutting it, and restarting doesn't feel right either? That's me right now with Tears of the Kingdom. I am actually going to get all the Koroks. Like, I am that kind of person, in terms of, like, I like 100% in games. So, at some point, I will go back for the Koroks. It's just, I think I got to, like, 300 and stopped. But, like, what's the most recent example of that? A lot of times it's a waiting game for me, where it's like, I don't want to start something before Mario and Luigi comes out. But then, like, I'm not really feeling Mario and Luigi at the moment, so then that also goes unplayed, unfortunately. So yeah, I get that a lot. I'm that way with, like, TV shows, too, where it's like, sometimes I'll watch something, and it's, like, so good that I'll try to watch something else, and it'll just be like, wow, that was really, like, whatever. I don't have opinions on that at all. It's just, like, very mid. Ironically, I actually did that a lot in early lockdown. Like, a good example of that is Yooka-Laylee, where everyone complained about Yooka-Laylee just being kind of whatever, so I ended up playing that during early lockdown, just because I thought, well, if it's kind of a average game anyway, it won't be particularly hurt by my mood being very average at the moment. I do hope the remake is good, just because I think... I think there's potential with Yooka-Laylee. I think it genuinely does have a lot of potential, as long as they, like, really take the criticism of the original to heart and clean up a few things. I think you replay, I think is the name of it. I think that could actually be really good. And another problem I have is specifically with RPGs. I tend to compulsively stop and restart them, because I don't remember what I'm doing. Yakuza, this is a good example. Yakuza 0, that's not an RPG, but it still works for this. I don't remember what I was doing in that game. It's like 2 years ago. So I'm probably gonna end up restarting the game so I can actually go fresh through these, like, do a fresh playthrough starting from the beginning. Here's the funny part. This is the second time this has happened. Like, this would not be the first time. I do really feel like I'm in a rut with gaming, though, partly because there's a lot of games where it's like, I don't know if I want to, like, waste it on a time when I'm feeling really out of it. You played Iconoclast during a time when you weren't getting much sleep, and it made the story scarier. I've heard really good things about Iconoclasts, mostly from Nicole, to be fair, but it already is a game that definitely feels like up my alley. It's just a matter of, like, time and money getting around to it. There are too many Metroidvanias, I feel. I still haven't played Hollow Knight. That's one I should put on the list. There's a few games that are on my I'll play it when the sequel has more news type games. Yeah, about that, in the case of Hollow Knight, unfortunately. You're the second person she's recruited into her muscle cult. Noted. To be fair, I also will concur on that sentiment. This'll work. cool. Alright. What do we have? Another treasure chart. Oh. Let's see, yeah, Iconoclasts, Hollow Knight, Owlboy is a game that's been sitting in my Steam library for like... God knows how long. It's been like 8 years, and I still haven't played Owlboy. I ain't messing around. This could take a few tries, so I'm just gonna stock up here. This is overkill, 100%, but, you know, want to be on the safe side, so we don't have to go back over and over. I swear there are more Metroidvanias I'm forgetting, actually. There's too many at the moment to keep track of for me. I mean, in terms of, this is a cheating answer, but I also would like to get around to the Castlevania collections at some point. The Dominus and Advanced collections. I'm more interested in the Dominus collection, to be honest. More so for Order of Ecclesia and Portrait of Ruin. I have actually played Dawn of Sorrow, and I actually don't like it very much. Though it's for the reason everyone does, and it's a thing they fixed in this collection where I don't like the rune mechanic. I definitely was someone who had to refight a boss a bunch of times because of, you know, not drawing it fast enough or drawing it too slowly, and then I just got the bad ending and kind of stopped there. So yeah, at some point I would like to give Dawn of Sorrow another chance, preferably through the collection. And yeah, I've always been interested because aesthetically I really like Shinoa's design. Even though I know nothing about her really. Okay. You just clipped out of bounds and then jumped back in. I didn't know that happened. There's a glitch with Portrait of Ruin that lets you play Charlotte instead of Charlotte and Jonathan. Oh, that'd be how I'd want to play. Not biased at all. I always hear those are like two of the best Castlevania, like Metroidvania style Castlevanias. So they've always been ones I wanted to try. Just like there aren't really great ways to do so because again, I don't know like if there's a lot of touch elements like in Dawn, with those two being later. Only the bits that aren't enjoying. I also don't like the art style, to be fair. I do miss the like stylized look, and I feel like Dawn of Sorrow does end up being a little bit more generic in terms of art style. I say as the anime VTuber, maybe I'm not like the best person to be saying this, but I do kind of find it a little generic, I think. And yeah, I don't really remember the story, but I almost feel like Aria is like doing a direct sequel to Aria is like a choice, just because I felt like that game ended fairly conclusively. At least from what I remember. Yeah, the anime style just felt kind of not Castlevania-ish, I suppose. And yeah, it does also feel weird to do a sequel and then change the art style considerably. I say as the Xenoblade fan. Though again, they sort of retroactively made all the games more homogenous now, with like Definitive Edition for Xenoblade 1 and X. But yeah, I remember the jump from 1 to 2 was considered very jarring at the time, because 2 is very anime. I say as a 2 defender. Xenoblade 2 is a big part of who I am today, I think, if I had to make a guess. But again, it's really hard to talk about because it's really spoilery, unfortunately. That's like the frustrating part with liking Xenoblade is, how do I talk about Xenoblade without spoiling Xenoblade? It's really hard, actually. Ow. Also, they're running out of games to re-release, so I really wonder what their next plan for the franchise is. Like, Silent Hill 2 remake, against all odds, turned out okay. So, I almost feel like it's just a case of they need to find a good studio for it. And it's like, there's no shortage of options, like WayForward obviously is right there if they need a indie Metroidvania company. Alright, there's still Shantae 1 I've never finished, partly because it's very, very hard, because it's Shantae 1, but that is a game on my backlog at some point. I'm very hit and miss on Shantae. I like some of them, but not others. Some of them are just like a little bit too like Metroidvania-ish in a way, but without the quality of life to make them like enjoyable Metroidvanias. As much as I love like the characters of Shantae, I feel like parts of like the gameplay can feel a little bit frustrating at times. Mainly with Seven Sirens being the biggest example, where I just feel like I like it except for playing it, if that makes sense, because it's just like, I wish there was a decent map system, but there really isn't. So I just spent like an hour or two going in circles around the map, checking every collectible spot, because I could not find which one I was missing. So yeah, being able to like put pins on the map, like basic quality of life stuff that even like Metroid has now. Nintendo's notoriously bad at quality of life sometimes, so even stuff like that I think is why Shantae is a little bit hit or miss for me. Because then it's like, yeah, a checklisty is a great way to put my feelings on Seven Sirens. It's just literally going down the list, checking every location until I found the one item I was missing. And again, Shantae gives you like better endings, well, quote-unquote better endings, depending on how fast you do it, and like my time was trash because I spent so long just checking every spot, and it took like, yeah, it took like 2 or 3 tries, I think, to actually find what I was missing, and by then I was just kind of burnt out on the game, which is a shame, because I really like Pirate's Curse, except for how frustrating the difficulty scaling is, and I really like, what's the other one? I really like Half Cheating Hero, actually, as, like, that's more linear. It almost feels more like Mega Man X, where it's like, there's, like, you have to, like, go back to stages a few times, which isn't, like, quite the same as Mega Man X, where that's more for, like, additional upgrades to make things easier for you, but still kind of scratches a similar itch in being a little bit more linear. Oh, finally! But also, oh god, that's so many checks now. Oh no. Alrighty. We have a conundrum now. We have 50 bajillion checks to go through. Like, the whole map is just lit up right now. It's like, I've never been so, like, oh god, to getting the item I was hoping to get, because now we actually have to think about this a lot more than we did before. Well, where are we? We are in Overlook Isle. Do we have the chart for this one? Because we might as well just get started. It says we do, so I guess we might as well. Did they actually speed it up for this? They did not. Okay. So, like, Wind Waker HD makes this a lot faster. Unfortunately, we're still capped to, like, normal, you know, recovery speed for this, which means it'll take a bit to get all these. We also don't have everyone yet, so I'll get a pair. Oh gosh, there's also big octos too. Like, basically, I feel like certain games have, like, okay, the world is your oyster now, kind of checks, and it definitely feels more lopsided in Wind Waker compared to others, because, god, there's a lot to do, actually. Basically, this feeling of everything takes forever, because you're basically locking a ton of checks behind one item. And this is on me. This is just me being overconfident. I definitely should have not put treasure charts on for one of my first randomizers. That was definitely a mistake on my part, but I was feeling a little bit confident that I could actually do it. And I can do it, it's just, it's gonna take forever. Apparently this one's actually a big octo, not a direct sunken chest spot. The inherent problem with big octos is I don't know where they are. I hear seagulls, that's always a good sign. Normally if you see seagulls, that's like close to where the big octo is. Also, it's usually stormy too. This could be a problem. So we gotta have a Hail Mary here with our arrow. You have to also wait for the eye to stop flashing red as well, which also sucks. They give you a little bit of leeway at least. It's not overly strict, I'd say. Alright, so far so good. Got 2. I don't know, like 60 checks for treasure charts. Alright. But we actually do have this little bit of suspense though of every one of these we open and we get this like cool reveal.